Let's talk a little NFL draft. We do so with someone that covers the NFL draft and also college football all throughout the year for CBS Sports HQ. Has a great website, footballgameplan.com. And that is Emory Hunt, kind enough to join us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. Emory, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for it. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Zach. As always, appreciate you bringing me on the show.
All right, let me start you off with Shedeur Sanders. The last 24 hours, I call this the jackassery of the NFL draft season. I watched Shedeur Sanders play at Jackson State, Colorado. I always thought he did more with less. I don't know if he'll go on to be an all-time great quarterback, but I do think he could be good. And now people are saying he's arrogant and he's brash, and I just think it's silly what goes on this time of the year. What's your evaluation of Shedeur Sanders?
I've never wavered from Shedeur Sanders. He has always been Joe Burrow-like to me, based on how he plays the position from the neck up. And I'm glad you brought up Jackson State, because it seems like a lot of people, those years don't even count. They treat it like it's a JUCO. But he was out there as a freshman playing outstanding football, Black College National Player of the Year, two-time SWAC champion. Jerry Rice Award was the freshman of the year in the FCS level, and went on to Colorado, won a Johnny Unitas Award, got those guys to a bowl game. You know, you look at what he's done statistically over the course of his career, finished college football as the most, with the highest completion percentage in college football history. So that's dating back to what, 1869? So he has done it. So what you're hearing now is people's disdain for Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and they're throwing it on his son. I'll tell you this, they don't even like Cam Ward like that. They just don't like Shedeur Sanders because of his father. Because if it was just Cam Ward in his draft, they'll be saying, oh, he quit on his team. Oh, he has a low delivery with his passes. They'll knock him too. So I'm not buying it. Whoever he's going to go, him or Cam Ward, you can't go wrong with either one. They should go 1-2 or 2-1. They should go with the top two picks in the draft.
If you had to be making the picks, would you take Cam Ward first or Shedeur Sanders first?
Don't matter. Both of those dudes are excellent quarterbacks. They both have that dog mentality. So wherever you need a quarterback, whether it's Tennessee, Cleveland, the Giants, if I'm the Giants, I'm sweating, because those two guys are legit top two picks, and whoever's going to take them will reap the benefits of elite level quarterback play.
When you look at Tennessee, and I know, right, you just said, hey, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders should be the first two picks of the draft. But Emory Hunt, in terms of what will happen, I'm fascinated right at the top, because I think for Tennessee, you either trade that pick or you take Cam Ward. What do you ultimately think Tennessee will do?
Take the quarterback. Because they saw what happened last year. I mean, Brian Callahan's face every time Will Levis made some bonehead play was priceless. But there were 6 of those bonehead plays away from 3 more wins. This team is not as bad as people make them out to be. They could legitimately have a Washington Commanders situation. So could the New York Jets. So could the New York Giants. So could the Cleveland Browns. Those 3 teams we watched last year, and we were watching them lose close games, and you're saying, man, if they just had stability at quarterback, they'd be a lot better than what their record says. That's all 3 of those teams in the top 3, which is why any one of those teams getting one of the 2 of these QBs should be in great shape.
Who's the third best quarterback in this draft?
In my opinion, is Jalen Milroe, and I'll tell you why. The reason why, people don't put a lot of stock in this. The guy won the academic Heisman Trophy and the Campbell Award, and that is a hard nut to crack. That's why you see schools celebrate when you're a semifinalist. So to go out there and win it as the starting quarterback at Alabama with all of the success he's had there, to still lock in the classroom speaks volumes. And think about when the first time we saw Jalen Milroe in 2022, we were like, man, I don't know if he's going to make it by the end of the season as a quarterback. And then he got better in 2023 after they benched him for South Florida. Then they needed him throughout the rest of the season. He goes, outperforms Carson Beck in the SEC title game, wins an SEC championship, gets them to the college football playoff. And this year they were breaking in a new coach with a new offensive system. So he had the ups and downs, same amount of touchdowns, just had more turnovers. And that was probably a lot of the time he was pressing and he made some critical mistakes. But when you talk about someone that saw deficiency, got better, still locked in, helped his team win, I can take a chance on that guy, whether it's late in the first trading back in or at the top of the second. So if you're a team that's missing out on Ward or Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, with the way he plays and the way he goes about his business, military kid, focused, determined, That's what I would bet on.
Yeah, and personally, I would only use a first-round pick in this draft for the quarterback position on Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. My problem with Jalen Milroe, and I think he was more accomplished than Anthony Richardson in college, but I think there's some similarities. You saw some of what the ceiling could be, and then the floor, it was a deep fall-off. There was no, middle ground. And I just think the disparity on the floor to the ceiling for Jalen Milroe is what was concerning for me this past year.
Well, I find it fascinating, though, because we never hear about the Florida game for Jackson Dart, or, you look at
Kentucky,
Tyler Shuck,
too.
Kentucky,
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck playing, 17 years. I'm not as worried about Milroe's floor. We can't, guys have bad games. So we can't, slaughter one guy for a bad game and then justify another guy's bad game and say, well, he does this. Well, maybe it was this, and that. It happens. We see it all the time. We saw it in the Super Bowl. So sometimes those bad games happen. I like the fact that you brought up Anthony Richardson for Jalen Milroe, but it shows you the benefit of being able to play multiple games consistently, which is something Richardson wasn't even able to do in college because he was hurt on and off again. And then now we see that in the NFL, he has to stay healthy. But Milroe, you saw progression, and then the offense changed, and then you saw the ups and downs. So that's why I think a team that, let's say like the Raiders or a team like the Jets that has a Tyrod Taylor, let's say you bring him along slowly, put him on that Jordan Love plan, put him on that Malik Willis plan in Green Bay, and when you put him back out there, you got yourself a starting quarterback.
How many quarterbacks do you ultimately think go in the first round? Just wondering.
Oh, that's a good question. I'd probably say like 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I could see 4, and 2 being 2 trade back ends. And maybe somebody based on what we witness out in Indianapolis, where the interviews are important. How healthy is a Quinn Ewers, who had a lot of fans coming into the season, and I like how he answered those questions about his mental toughness, because we know you have to be mentally tough to play quarterback there based on who the backup is. And all he did was just get his team to the postseason, back-to-back seasons. So there's some it there with him that you like. And we'll see which other quarterback gets talked up into trading in. Because again, last year, I would have never guessed that we would have saw Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy go in round 1. And even Michael Penix was kind of like, yeah, I could kind of see it, but I don't know how teams view that. And then all 3 went in the top 10 or top 12.
When you look at Jackson Dart, when's the earliest you think he could go?
What I think, or what I would do?
What you think, not what you would do. What you think NFL teams would do.
Knowing these NFL teams, he probably could go first overall. So
you don't believe that.
At the end of the day, it wouldn't shock me to see him go in round 1. Crazier things have happened, and there's no knock to Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart. He does have some athleticism. I think he would be a strong QB2 at the NFL level, because we've seen now since COVID, since 2020, that you're going to need a backup to play at least 3 games, and so you better have someone that's played a lot, which he has, someone that has athleticism, which he has, someone that is not afraid of the moment, which he has played in the SEC. So I think that's a situation where you can strengthen your QB2. Could probably be a fringe starter, in my opinion. But is versus pressure where he has to be better. And that's something that you really can't coach. He's going to have to figure that journey out on his own.
I think Ashton Jeanty and Emory and Hampton are going to go in the first round. Do you think we could get a third running back in the first round, or is that just not going to happen because still the up in the air evaluation of value when it comes to the running back position?
It's tough, because if you are listening to how people frame, first of all, I've never been of the type to say running backs don't matter, obviously. But if you listen to a lot of the talk that people say, you can't give these guys a second contract, just draft another one. Well, if you use that logic, wouldn't it be advantageous to take them in round 1 when you get them on a younger, cheaper deal? And then you could decide if you want to extend them or whatnot. So with that being, the foundation, I can see a Travion Henderson going round 1. I can see someone like that sneaking in the first round because of his ability to pass protect, We know he has explosive speed, and we also know he has the ability to make guys miss. That's what you want. Someone that could be out there all 3 downs that can, kill you with the explosive play, keep your quarterback upright with his pass pro, and also catch the ball out of the backfield and be a downfield threat in the passing game.
Emory Hunt here with us. Let's go into the trenches. Offensive tackle, Will Campbell. Everyone's freaking out about these short arms. I watched a lot of Will Campbell this year. I thought he was a heck of a player. How will these short arms and that measurement at the combine affect his draft stock, in your opinion?
It shouldn't affect his draft stock because this is the example I always use when we're talking about arm length. And I always put it in my notes in my scouting reports. Can X player, whether it's offense or defense, win the hands first battle, right? Because if I get my hands on you first, I'm in control. And you could have long arms, but are slow and get them on the defender, and you lose that battle. Mike Tyson was 5'10", and everyone he fought had outreached him. But guess what Mike Tyson did? Woom, 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 bang, got inside you and knocked you out. Like, so your long arms don't matter. If I get my hands on you first, I'm going to win the battle. And that's what Will Campbell has done. And here's the thing. This is the other part, too. I used to use this argument for, when he talked about Russell Wilson coming into the draft, and I had him as my number 3 quarterback with a first-round grade in that 2012 class. Like, what? He's too short. I was like, he has been 5'10" his whole life. You don't think he knows how to play at 5'10"? You don't think he knows how to find passing windows? He wouldn't have gotten this far at a Power 4 school at North Carolina State and into another Power 4 program in a bigger conference at Wisconsin had he not been able to play. So that stuff doesn't matter to me. It's about how quickly you can react, how quickly you use your assets. And if I got shorter arms, I have to win first. And so he's been able to do that consistently from start to finish in his LSU career.
Who do you think will get drafted first, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter?
Wow, that's a great question. I would probably say Abdul Carter because I think the draft really starts at 2 because Cleveland is in a unique spot. We understand they need a quarterback, but you have Myles Garrett sitting out there saying he wants to trade. Well, here's a guy that you can get to kind of replace Myles Garrett or step in and be that pass rusher coming off the edge. So they kind of can go either way. I can see them toying with that decision. Maybe they get a veteran because maybe they don't have the time to that organization or that regime doesn't have a time to develop a young guy. They need to win now, so maybe they go Abdul Carter. I can see him going as early as 2 and as low as potentially 5. So I don't see him falling off the top 5, but I would say he would go first because I wouldn't. If the top 2 quarterbacks are gone, I can see Hunter going 3. Before Abdul Carter, because the Patriots would love to have Travis Carter. So, matter of fact, top 4, I would say. I wouldn't see Abdul Carter fall, but I could see him going as early as 2.
How about Tyler Warren? I think the earliest he could go is 7 to the Jets. Is that about right in your opinion?
If he goes to the Jets at 7, then Indianapolis would be highly frustrated because that would be the next spot I could see him go. But the Jets would be ideal for him. Whoever they bring in that quarterback will need someone that's a safety valve. And what's good about Warren, he enhances your playbook inside the red zone because he's a wildcat quarterback. He's good with the ball in his hands, and he can actually throw. So you're getting, someone that can kind of add more creativity, but he's always find a way to be open. He breaks tackles after the catch. He's an ideal tight end in today's game. I like Tyler Warren, and I know some people would kind of shudder at the thought that a tight end goes in the top 10. Not this dude. This dude's a raw football player, and put him out there anyway. Roll the ball out and go play.
How do you think, Emory Hunt, that Travis Hunter is going to be used in the NFL?
On both sides of the ball. And here's why. I brought this up last night on HQ. If you are the New England Patriots, and let's say you get Travis Hunter, and you start him at corner, and a quarterback is not going to throw his way because he's literally throwing to a wide receiver. So you're going to have to throw to who? Christian Gonzalez? Like, good luck throwing the football against New England, right? Then on offense, you don't need him to be out there as your bona fide X. He could be your number 3 receiver, getting 25 plays a game and do damage. It opens everything up for everybody else because he doesn't need volume to make an impact. Even him out there is just going to open up the offense, and he gets a bit of a break, to be honest, in the NFL, more so than college. At Colorado, he was their number one. In the NFL, he's going to be your number 3 receiver at best, I believe. And on defense, he's your number 1 or number 2 corner or 1B corner that's going to take the ball away. So I can see him playing both sides of the ball. I think he's going to get more of a break. I know the NFL game is a lot more physical. But there's ways to where he can have a little bit more of a break than what he did in college.
In your opinion, if I say you can't say Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, who are the 3 best defensive players in this draft, Emory?
If I can't say those 2, I haven't even finished grading the defensive side of the ball yet to even give you a good answer. Because those are the guys I just have off the top of my head. I'm still working through offense right now, so I wouldn't even give you a good answer. I'm not going to even sit up here on your frequency modulation and lie to you by throwing out some names. So I don't even know yet.
Gotcha. All right, then since you're on the offensive side of the ball, wide receivers. Who do you like wide receivers?
I like what I've seen from Ted McMillan. I know he's it's kind of a debate because, some people don't like him, some people do. Him and Luther Burden, I'm a big fan of. McMillan, to me, I like that he's a big receiver, but he has the ability to be a rack guy, a run after catch guy. So that's awesome for someone that big to be that much of a threat after the catch, and he has great hands. Burden, I feel like people forgot about. He was thought of highly amongst NFL scouts and personnel coming into the season. Brady Cook was banged up this year, so he didn't get the football in their passing game like he did the year before. Luther Burden is a phenomenal receiver. I also feel like when you think in terms of Golden at Texas, and all those Texas boys really stepped up this year. And the one guy that wasn't even at the combine, Silas Bolden, was a really good receiver too. So we'll see him blister up his pro day. This is a really good receiver class, and I feel like when you think about why that is, more 3, 4, 5 wide receiver sets, so guys are getting more routes on air, more time on task, so they're coming into the NFL much more polished than they have been in years prior.
Make sure you check him out, footballgameplan.com. Also does a great job for CBS Sports HQ, draft analyst, college football, all that great stuff. He's Emory Hunt. Emory, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Always, Zach. Thanks a lot, man.